Welcome to Flourish in 5. My name is Heather Lattinen, and every Friday I share a story, a lesson, or a quick idea with the goal of helping you gain a new perspective. If you could please leave a comment, subscribe to the podcast, and share with your friends, it would be greatly appreciated. A few weeks ago, I released episode 124, centered around laziness and excuses and discernment and my struggle in those areas. And if you haven't listened to that episode, please stop this one and go catch up with that one, because I received a lot of feedback about that episode and it was very thoughtful. And today I'm going to share an email from my friend Lynn, who I met through photography. She is hilarious. We're in a coaching group together, and she turned my coaching around on me, which I think is just the funniest thing. And with her permission, I'm going to read this email and then we are going to talk about it. So she said, I finished listening to your latest podcast this morning, and all I can think is you've got to give yourself some grace. And do you really know the definition of lazy? It's unwilling to work or use energy. You throw around the word lazy as if you were throwing around beads during Mardi Gras, except I'm not showing you my boobs. I thought that was the funniest thing. Okay, but she's right. The definition of lazy, unwilling to work or use energy. And that is 100% not me. I am not lazy. So why do I refer to myself that way if I'm not being productive? It's like either or for me. It's either I'm productive or I'm lazy. Like, where's the in between and just being, I don't know, normal? Okay. She goes on to say, making an excuse doesn't necessarily equate to laziness. It means you need to take the time to examine why you are making excuses. Why don't you want to work out today? Is it as simple as you have been going full speed for 6 days and you need a day of rest? Or is it you do not yourself that you can, or you do not think that you can pick this up again once you have a day off? God gave us a day of rest for a reason. Amen. I agree with that. Doing something effectively has its place, but where is grace for yourself? Is rigidity making you happy, or do you think it's making you unhappy? Are you going to burn yourself out being so rigid? Yes, I am. Sometimes being so rigid is an excuse not to deal with other things that are going on in your life, just as much as choosing to curl on a couch with a Hallmark movie and escape for a couple of hours. They can be the same coin, but with two different sides. Okay, I want to talk about, there's more, but it's so good. Okay, the questions that she posed, I really did laugh out loud when I read several times when I read this, because I thought she's using my questions on me. It was very difficult to self-coach. So I really, really appreciated this email. So why don't I want to work out? Is it as simple as you've been going full speed for 6 days and a day of rest? And don't you think you can pick it up? Yeah, I guess, I don't think I can pick it up. I feel like if I take too many days off, it's going to be harder to restart. So I just don't take any days off. So that's my approach with that. I do not have grace for myself. I can't explain that one. I just push myself harder. And rigidity, she had said this is the same coin with two different sides. Is being rigid my way of not dealing with something else I need to deal with? Whoa, now that's a good question. That actually stopped me in my tracks and made me think, is there a feeling or something, some emotion that I am avoiding by remaining in my rigidity? And the answer is probably yes, but I'm going to have to really dig deep to find it. And, part of what makes me I believe, so successful is that I am very focused, driven, ambitious, and rigid. But obviously, all good things, when taken to an extreme, can then be considered challenging. I actually asked my therapist about this a couple months ago, and I said, I just don't know where this line is between holding myself accountable and pushing myself and taking it too far and being so rigid that I'm not flexible and I'm not showing myself grace, etc. And her response was, it becomes a problem when it causes you distress. If your rigidity is making you productive and happy and you feel good about it and it's not causing any problems, then there's no problem. This goes back to a question I posed in a previous episode, which is, are you trying to solve a problem that doesn't exist? Well, okay, in this case, my rigidity does cause me some distress because I can't seem to show myself grace or take it easy. Okay. And I have some thoughts as to why that might be, but let me come back to that. Okay. She goes on to say, I fully know I'm a mess in my life. I give myself too many easy outs at times. That's actually what scares me. Side note is that I feel like I don't want to give myself too many easy outs. So the pendulum swings to the opposite extreme. Okay. But then she says, but I also know what it's like to go full speed ahead for days on end. So I don't have to consider what is really going on behind my thoughts and actions of being rigid. Whoa. Okay. That was good. Am I going full speed ahead so I don't have to consider what's driving that behavior? Wow. So interesting, right? Like what's causing that? She said, but I learned to give myself grace and tell myself it's okay because this doesn't happen every day. I can get it done later. For instance, this week I was feeling under the weather, actually 2 days of pure misery. Yesterday I was so exhausted, I chose to rest. Does that make me lazy because I told myself it was okay to rest? I could have been effective in my day, but I needed that rest. I needed the day to take it easy. Now, if I choose to continue to use feeling under the weather as an excuse, then I still don't consider myself lazy, but I have to look at what is going on around me to figure out why I am making excuses for not doing something. She said, I know I'm probably rambling at this point, but give yourself some grace. It really will be okay if you don't do something one day. And Lynn, I've got to tell you publicly, thank you so much for taking the time to write that email because it was thoughtful, hilarious, and incredibly thought-provoking. It caused me to stop and think, okay, what is behind all this rigidity? Because, okay, as I read that email and other people reached out to me and said, you can take a day off, you can relax, it's going to be okay. I thought, yeah, of course it is. Logically, I understand all of this. Logically, it makes sense to me to exercise so many days and have a few days of rest or work and then take time off. That all makes sense to me at a certain brain level, like the thinking brain level, like, oh, okay, yeah. But somewhere in my reptilian brain, in my limbic system is like, and I'm starting to uncover where it might be from. When I was a child, the worst thing you could be in my house was lazy. And it would just not only wasn't tolerated, it was like way more extreme than that. I believe that I tied my identity to my performance and productivity. So if I am productive and getting things done and making things happen, I am worthy. I'm worthy of love. I'm worthy of attention, belonging, all of those things. And if I'm lazy or I categorize myself as lazy, then I am not worthy of those things, which if you go back to the reptilian brain, we're wired for community and connection because if you didn't fit in with a tribe and you were outcast, you were dead because you would in fact get mauled by a bear. So in my mind, okay, listen, okay, before I say this, understand, I recognize that this does not make logical sense. But in my brain, if I'm lazy, I'm dead. Do you see that connection? If I'm lazy, I'm not worthy, I'm not accepted, I'm outcast, which means ultimately I'm dead. That's the way the reptilian brain works. I have to somehow acknowledge that, recognize it, and then try to work my way past it and say to myself, okay, that's not true. You're not actually going to die if you take a day off. But that's what's going on behind the scenes. So I replied to Lynn. We had a great back and forth conversation. But I said, yeah, I can give myself grace. Like I hear that, but it's so tied to my identity. I am productive. I am a hard worker. I am effective. Anything you say after the two words I am you have related to your identity and your worth ultimately. So if I'm not working or productive, I'm a loser and I'm dead. It's basically the way my brain works. And I can force myself to take half a day off. Like Friday afternoons, I've been trying to take off from work. But what I really want to do, I think there's two aspects to this, is can I schedule, because that's just how it has to be, time off? Can I do that? Yes, I can do that. But the next step to that is, well, can I enjoy it and be happy doing it? And honestly, that's the part I'm struggling with, because I still feel this need, this pull, this like gravitational pull back to work or being productive. And please understand, I love my work. I actually really, really enjoy what I do. So it's not a stretch for me. I'm not making myself miserable. Well, okay. I might be making myself miserable in another way, but not with my work because I enjoy it. Taking time off is like taking me away from my favorite thing. So I have to find a way to consciously, I guess, I'm working my way through this, acknowledge, okay, this is who I am. This is accept who I am. And then try to balance or find some harmony with rigidity and flexibility and showing myself grace and feeling okay about it. Like it's going to be okay. And I'll pick it back up and the world isn't going to end. I'm not going to die. People aren't going to leave me. I mean, you guys, this is where the work happens, and it's not easy, but I believe I can do it. I believe you can do it with whatever end of the spectrum you're on. Maybe you're on the opposite end where you take it too easy on yourself and you need to push yourself harder. Or maybe you're like, it seems like I just feel like a lot of people I meet are either one or the other. It's really difficult to find some balance there. Again, harmony, is the pendulum swinging to one extreme, or can it swing and come back to the middle? I don't know. I am working through this and I understand and acknowledge where it comes from. I remember clearly my dad saying when we were little, you have to make hay when the sun shines. That was like his mantra. And combine that with the fact that in our house, laziness was the absolute worst character quality you could ever have. I mean, we were just admonished for it. It was very, very difficult. And but you have to take the good with the bad, because I actually said to my therapist, I'm thankful for that. I have an amazing work ethic and I am grateful for that. It's just gone a little too far that it's causing me some distress, not crazy distress. Like I'm not worried about this all the time, but I do feel like it's something I need to work towards. So I'm starting with this Friday afternoons off in the summer. I'm going to get all my work done before noon on Fridays and then shut down my computer and get out of my home, because if I'm in my home, I have this pull back towards work, and I can do that. I'm going to do that. I have committed to that. But the next step for me is being okay with it and not feeling badly that I'm not working. I might have to walk around, maybe I'll go to Target on Friday afternoons. I like to do that. Ella and I used to do that all the time. And I'll say, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'll do affirmations. I am worthy. People still love me. I'm not going to die. I'm living. I'm okay. I can just be a person. I'm still deserving of love and acceptance, even if I'm not being productive. Because again, I tied it to my identity and my worth. I wonder, what are you struggling with because you've made it your identity and your worth comes from it? Because my worth currently comes from my work. And if I'm not productive, I'm not worthy. What can I say? I'm working on it. I hope that you found this useful. I'll see you in the next episode.